Okay, we're back in the car for like the third time this week with another new face joining us today, and this lovely lady is...
Let's go with Sarahnade, since that's what I want to try to establish as my professional name.
Okay, Sarahnade. So far the first one is a codename. That'll work. Okay. And, again, this is one of those movies that I've been meaning to see for a long time. Finally got around to it. Yes. We just got out of Django Unchained. Now, this was actually your second time seeing it.
Yes, and I saw it about two and a half weeks ago. Okay,
and how was it the second time around?
Still as awesome.
Okay, yeah. So, I really like this movie, too. I thought it was really good. It's Tarantino. You kind of know what you're going to get yourself into.
Yeah.
So, like, the writing is still fantastic. The dialogue is great. The actors are great, with one exception. You probably know what I'm talking about. I'll get to that.
I'm curious, but I might have an inkling.
Yeah, someone kind of bugged me, but we'll get to that.
Okay.
First off, it's Christopher Waltz playing, like, the German leader. He was, for those who don't know, Christopher Waltz is the guy who played the villain from Inglourious Basterds. Tarantino likes to reuse his character as a cast member, so he brought him back. Samuel L. Jackson's in this. You got, who's Django?
Jamie Foxx.
Jamie Foxx, okay.
Oscar winner for Ray, which is a non-Tarantino flick. But.
Well, that's kind of a given. Did Tarantino movies usually win Oscars?
I don't believe he has won one yet.
Okay, well, that's too bad. At least it's one for best writing. The dialogue in this one in particular is really sharp. I mean, like, the trailers are very misleading. They weren't Inglourious Basterds, they were here. It's like, they do promote, like, a big action movie. There's actually not that much action in it.
Not really.
Like, two-thirds of the movie is dialogue-driven.
It's it's a dialogue-driven Western drama with explosions.
A kind of sort of drama, really. It's very tongue-in-cheek. More than that. One thing I thought was kind of interesting when I was watching this, I gotta start filming my keys, it's coming but, one thing I thought was kind of interesting is it does feel kind of like two different movies. Do you notice that?
Yeah, I did. Some parts are faster paced than others. There are still the Tarantino signature traits, but yeah, in some parts.
And that's not a bad thing necessarily. It works, but it is kind of noticeable. Like the first half is like. What happens is Jamie Foxx plays Django, of course, who's a slave who's freed by Christopher Waltz's character. What's his character's name? Dr. something.
Dr. King Schultz.
That's it. Okay, I'm terrible with names if you haven't gathered by this point. So yeah, they go free. Recruits him as a bounty hunter to go hunt like 3 people who used to abuse him as a slave. So they go, of course, find him, go hunt him down. And meanwhile, Jamie Foxx kind of learns how more to be like a free man, essentially, and starts learning human culture, society, stuff like that.
How to read,
and there was one part in particular I liked, was the part in the fire where Christopher Waltz's character is telling him a story, and I like how he responds very much like a child would, like for events that too. And I thought that was actually, I don't know if that was from Tarantino's work, that was Jamie Foxx's. I thought that was really a clever idea, because he is a slave, and of course, since it is kind of that territory, there was a lot of imagery that makes you really uncomfortable, and it should make you really uncomfortable. Well, of course, we don't like crap, but...
Yeah, but I thought that was a very clever choice, too, and especially throughout history. Slaves or cultures who were brought up without being taught literacy learn stories through
well, it's like he looks at the
oral interpretation through this passed down.
Like, he looks at like his childlike wonder. Like, he's like, he doesn't even hear stories. And I think that was a very clever choice to, like, describe the brutality without necessarily throwing in your face. And I thought that was a clever way to do it. And it just added more character to Jamie Foxx overall, who is really fucking awesome in this. We were talking about this before we got on the movie, is Will Smith was originally in line to play this character.
I am so glad.
He dropped out.
I'm so glad he did. Jamie Foxx owns this role.
I agree. Jamie Foxx, I think, would have done... I liked Will Smith. I do. I liked him in I Am Legend, but I have a feeling with this kind of script, he kind of would have Will Smithed it a little bit.
Yeah, I love The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, but he would have Fresh Prince of Bel-Aired this up, and it would have been an entirely different movie, and in my opinion, not as good.
It would have been Will Smith's show at that point. It would have been Tarantino's, and that would have been really... So, I much prefer Jamie Foxx.
Likewise.
But yeah, like I was saying, it does kind of look to me, after you get rid of the people they're looking for initially, the Beatle brothers, once you get rid of them, it it goes through like a montage of like how he becomes more of a bounty hunter and becomes more of a person,
including a training montage.
Including a training montage, and then it randomly cuts, not necessarily randomly, but then it focuses largely on getting his wife back from another slaver, played by Leonardo DiCaprio, who's also really good in this.
I have a few thoughts to share on him that we'll get to in a bit.
Fair enough. Okay. But then after that, basically, it kind of starts over. Like, it reintroduces all the characters, like, new characters that keep cropping up. This is like an hour into the movie, I think, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, there is a definite 3-act structure that is very distinct.
Well, it's the fact it's introducing, like, new characters, I think, at close to halfway through the movie, and these are the characters that'll drive the rest of the movie forward. I thought that was kind of interesting. A little distracting, maybe. There was a few times that I thought, okay, where the hell can they possibly go from here? So I'm honestly a little astonished that they had stretched it out to like close to 3 hours.
Yeah, I know.
That being said, I still really enjoyed it. I really like the characters. The writing's fantastic. It's classic Tarantino.
Yes, it is.
I don't know how much this ranks on Tarantino's best movies. Of course, you still got Pulp Fiction is probably one of his best.
And I love the Kill Bill movies. I know Inglourious Bastards got mixed reviews, but I just view Inglourious Bastards as Tarantino's excuse to kill Nazis for 2 hours, which I'm all for personally.
I really liked Inglourious Bastards. Again, that was kind of Christopher Waltz's show rather than about the Inglourious Bastards, which I think is what drew a lot of people off. But I thought that was a very good movie on all its own.
I agree.
What do you think he does well? And he does well in this movie too. He's good at building tension over a period of a scene, often without any music, without any of that, just through the characters, and just lets it build that you don't know what's going to happen. It's like Tarantino's are very unpredictable.
Yes, but you mentioned his use of music, which I thought was fantastic.
I love the soundtrack in this.
Me too.
At the same time, I feel like someone should take away Tarantino's iPod. But at the same time, he does make a lot of... there's one song I didn't particularly care for, was the hip-hop song in a Western movie I thought was really out of place.
He actually used 2 of those.
Did he use 2 of those?
Yeah, he used 2 rap songs. He kind of ran the full gamut. He used a gospel song. He used a Johnny Cash song.
Well, Johnny Cash in a Western movie.
Well,
come on, that's practically a staple.
Of course. He technically used a Johnny Cash song in the second Kill Bill movie as well. So
I haven't seen the second Kill Bill movie in years. I have seen it. I have seen it.
Okay.
I just have not seen it in a very long time. I've seen most of Tarantino movies. I haven't seen them all yet. I'm working my way through them. You got Jackie Brown, Pulp Fiction, even Grindhouse to a certain extent, although I haven't watched that from beginning to end. What else? I feel bad. I should know more. Inglourious Bastards. This movie, I was like...
Reservoir Dogs?
Reservoir Dogs, classic. Okay. Those are the only ones I can remember on the top of my head. I know the ones I'm forgetting are probably the less popular ones, but...
Death Proof, I think.
Oh, that one I haven't seen.
Okay.
But I like Tarantino the same way, kind of the same reason I like the Coen brothers in a lot of ways. Like, no matter good or bad the movie is, it's gonna be different than for a lot of the same crap you see getting out, like, every, like, fucking haunted house or whatever the hell's the thing. What is in theaters right now? We got Jack Reacher, generic action movie, Broken City. I actually thought that didn't look too bad, although based on Rotten Tomato, that didn't look like it did very well. But, Silver Linings still playing here? Okay, anyway.
I've always liked Tarantino's use of music in his films. He picks the right songs for the right moments. There was one song that, upon my first time viewing this movie, I was kind of surprised by, and it sort of took me out of the moment for a second. It was the Motherless Child song, because being an audiophile, when I hear that song, I think 1969 Woodstock, which is where that song was performed. But given the context that of the scene that he put it in, it actually made a lot of sense. So I thought that was a very interesting and clever choice.
What part was that at? I forget.
When... Spoiler alert.
Oh, yeah, we're going to go into spoiler territory, full-fledged in here from here on in. So if you haven't seen it already, go see it. We both highly recommend it.
Yes.
Now, for the rest of you, go.
So it was the scene when Jamie Foxx was surrendering and walking through the hall.
Yes.
And there was blood all over the walls.
and the blood in this movie squirts like a fucking fountain, by the way. Like, it was like, Jesus.
And I heard once that in the first Kill Bill movie, Tarantino went through 300 gallons of fake blood.
Jesus.
I'm kind of curious how many gallons he went through on
Probably
this one.
not as much as Kill Bill fucking 1. That one like literally spurted like a fountain.
Yes, they did, which is what made it so comical.
Yeah, but
there are a few violent comical moments in this movie as well.
yeah, well, it's like people don't just get shot; they fucking explode. Like the back of their head just goes poosh, and there's like a pool of blood. And by the way, you are fucking loud.
Is that a bad thing?
Well, it's like a competition between you and a woman in the corner of the theater for like biggest laugh in the theater, which isn't a bad thing, mind you, but it is very noticeable.
I'm sorry.
It's not a big deal. No. I'm just it's a character trait. Okay.
All I have been told my laugh is infectious.
Then we had that one jackass behind us who got on his fucking cell phone at the beginning of the movie.
It rang twice. He had a fucking iPhone with a ding 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 ding.
And he started talking. Like during the I think some woman in the back's like, put the damn phone away. Like at some point.
Okay, I whispered a phrase or two when Samuel L. Jackson's character was being an empty-headed repeater. That scene kind of annoyed me a little bit, but that was the character.
It's okay to whisper. It's when you're talking loudly, like here in your living room, which this fucking guy was doing. That's what pisses me off.
And there were a few people who kept on going in and out. I don't know if they had small bladders or if they were bored or.
I don't pretend to speculate people's lives. I just know I'm kind of with the shepherd in Fireflies. There is a special place in hell. There is a special hell for people who talk in the theater. And if you're one of these people,
yes,
God help your soul.
Good reference, by the way.
Thank you. Get my nerd cred. Okay, now we're back to talk about the movie again. Where were we at?
We were kind of bouncing around talking about use of music.
Yes, the soundtrack.
The soundtrack, blood spurting.
Oh yeah, like now let's talk about Leonardo DiCaprio, because I have a feeling you and I probably disagree on this.
Well, like I said, I have thoughts on Leonardo DiCaprio that are a little bit different than your average female in the United States.
Okay, elaborate.
Except for this film and two others, I haven't intentionally not seen anything else that Leonardo DiCaprio has been in because I don't think he looks like a leading male.
Really?
Except for in this film, which he is very good in this film, and he actually looks like an adult man in this film, which is rare by my observation.
Okay.
Except for this film and The Departed and Catch Me If You Can, I have intentionally never seen any film Leonardo DiCaprio has been in.
Not even Inception?
No.
Really?
No.
Huh. Well, I mean, I understand Titanic, but
yeah, I'm one of the few women in the United States who has never seen Titanic, and that was intentional as well.
And as a man, I am proud to say I've never seen Titanic, but
I mean, James Cameron is good at making money, but Leonardo DiCaprio does not look like a strong, masculine leading man to me. He looks too fucking young, which worked for him in Growing Pains, and it worked for him in Catch Me If You Can.
Wow, I thought I was the angry one. All right, you feel really strongly about this.
Yes,
I can't wait to take you to Arnold Schwarzenegger tomorrow.
Yeah.
She is not a fan.
No, he was okay in Conan, but he didn't really talk much in that.
Well, yeah, he learned English in that fucking movie. At least that's what I've heard.
That makes sense, actually. But, yeah, so Leonardo DiCaprio is good in this movie. I give you that. And he makes an excellent...
just a giant
jackass. A total jackass, a douchebag, a complete...
He does it
subhuman.
So fucking well.
He
does.
Like,
he just... I mean, not like Sam Jackson, and I'll get to him. But
yeah.
He's the guy you love. He's that guy you love to hate. Like, he is just the ultimate scumbag.
Yes.
And especially in the end, when everything finally blows up, there's this really tense scene. Again, this is spoiling a good portion of the end of the movie.
This is in the third act, by the way.
This isn't the ending. I thought it was going to be the ending. It turns out it wasn't.
I know. Me too. So this is in the third act when you think our heroes are almost going to get away, and it seems too good to be true, and then...
Well, like, to give a full background on the story, what happens is he goes to this place called Candy. Mr. Candy is the leader of his plantation.
Monsieur Candy.
Monsieur Candy. In a place like called Candyland, which I thought was actually kind of clever.
Yes.
It's Candy, C-A-N-D-I-E, by the way, just to point that out.
Avoiding copyright.
Avoiding copyright. Yes. So what happens is, of course, they go in there in the guise of like buying off like a black fighter to participate in gambling matches, but really they're here to buy his wife back, and he finds out about this and he does not respond well. So basically, they point
to say the least.
So basically, they point a gun to their head and pretty much just force them to pay the fee anyway. Not necessarily as trying to ruin the deal, but more just humiliate them in the process, essentially. At least that's what I got out of it.
It's a little bit of humiliation, a little bit of retribution.
And there's a part where, like, you can tell, like, Christopher Waltz's character in this movie is a German who just hates slavery, and you see it, like, comes in a few times. He's usually very calm, collected, very well spoken, and this is where the script writing skills really pull through, by the way.
Very articulate. Very good vocabulary.
Yeah, so that I leveled up. You can tell, like, towards the end, he's kind of starting to lose it a little bit because he sees all the stuff that's, like, done to slaves, and there's some pretty dark imagery here, and it makes... Again, it's made to make you uncomfortable, and it should make you uncomfortable, and I think it pulled that off very well.
It's not for the faint of heart.
No, it is not, and I've heard a few people getting offended by this. A couple white dudes, actually, which I thought was kind of surprising, but I don't want to get into that debate.
To put it into a historical context, this story takes place 2 years before the Civil War.
Yeah, so the N-word is thrown around a lot. So that makes you uncomfortable. You're going to hate this movie pretty fast.
Yeah.
But anyway, so basically, this is right after Christopher Waltz basically just bottles up his anger, signs the deal, and is about ready to get out of there until Leonardo Dicaprio does like the most scummiest thing he can do, and basically insists on having a handshake.
To seal the deal.
And he insists on it in like the most scumbag way, and you just want him to...
It's so passive-aggressive. It's under the guise of Southern hospitality and traditions, but it's so incredibly passive-aggressive.
It's hard to describe without actually seeing it. It builds up his tension, his hatred. It really just builds it up until finally Christopher Waltz just fucking snaps and just kills it and kills him and dies 2 seconds later. But again...
And you, as a viewer, or at least I was, are so happy when Leonardo DiCaprio dies.
For you, it's like, oh no, Christopher Waltz.
I know, right?
Like, don't go.
Yeah.
With her magnificent beard. Which you kept doing this too, by the way, Mike.
Yeah, in different moods, at different parts of conversations, that character did this with his mustache, then did this with his mustache.
But yeah, like, that does what's very well done. Like, the tension, the rising up to, you don't quite know what's gonna happen, and then, of course, everything just fucking explodes as after that. And I do mean literally explodes, people, and everyone just...
yeah.
But that was really well done. It was a good way. It's very satisfying to see him go down. I was also very sad to see Christopher Waltz go down. May he rest in peace.
Yeah, that's how I felt too. When I first saw it, I almost teared up when that character died. It's like, no, you were so close.
But the one character I really did not like, and I'm disappointed to say this because I like this actor, is Samuel L. Jackson's character.
I think Leonardo DiCaprio was a great villain, but Samuel L. Jackson's character was an even more despicable villain.
He was... I don't know. At least he got better in the second, after Leonardo DiCaprio died. He got better, but after those first, 20, 30 minutes when he's introduced...
He was just the yes man.
Well, he's a yes man, but he's also... I found him to be extremely annoying, because he's doing the Samuel L. Jackson shtick as an old Southern slave, essentially. And motherfucker and all that stuff. And I know that a lot of slavers used broken English back in the States. I had no problem with that going into this. This was the part where it really felt forced, though. Because he's doing the motherfucking ass bitchin'... that Sam Jackson's like, well, I love Sam Jackson for that. Don't get me wrong. I can enjoy a good Pulp Fiction or Jackie Brown every now and then, but here it just felt really out of place, in my opinion.
And this was the first time I saw Samuel L. Jackson depicted as so old and decrepit.
Which is a bit off-putting, a little bit. So I think that might have something to do with it, too. I don't know, I just found his character to be really silly until... Leonardo DiCaprio dies, and he gets that last really silly moment when he's like, no!
Candyland will live on forever! Candyland will be here forever!
And it's really, that part was like, oh my god. but after that he got better. After that he got more sinister. He got more threatening. And then in the end, when what happens is like after a while, there's a big fight scene after Leonardo Dicaprio dies, and then he gets captured at the end because it's either give up or we kill your wife. I don't really know why they didn't just shoot him, but
that's actually a really good question.
because he has no ammo, he has no foot to stand on, he's stuck under a shelf.
I guess they just really wanted him to suffer.
I guess that's the only explanation I can think of. But that's like the big punishment. Sam Jackson sends him, who's basically the new big bad after Leo dies.
More or less, since he was Leo's yes man.
Yeah, so he shifts him off to like a mining corporation that
Or tries to.
tries to. This is a weird ass Tarantino cameo, by the way. He was the Australian cowboy, wasn't he?
I don't know, actually.
I'm pretty sure that was Tarantino.
Really?
He's cameoed in several of his movies, so
Well, that's pretty common for directors. Hitchcock made a cameo in each one of his movies.
I'm almost positive. You can correct me in the comments if you got this far. I'm almost positive that was Tarantino as the Australian cowboy at the very end. And this is where they tie in plots from the very beginning of the film. I thought in a really clever way, which is like he convinces him that Candy is holding like people that have bounties.
Bounties that they already caught.
Exactly, and I thought that was actually a really clever way to tie those elements back in.
It was.
And show the relevancy. So I thought that was... And then, of course, right after they agree and let him go, he shoots them all and then takes the horse and runs off.
And takes a bunch of dynamite.
Which ends in a very big explosion at the very end of the film.
Yeah, I liked how his wife did this before...
Oh, yeah, his wife gets really tongue-in-cheek at the very end. Like, I don't know if that was I think they're just having fun. And that's the one thing I like about Tarantino. Is like, you can always tell the actors are having a good time while they're working on the film. Like, Christopher Waltz is having a great fucking time.
Oh, yeah.
Jamie Foxx is also clearly having a good time. That goes like, Samuel Jackson, maybe.
I couldn't really tell.
I don't know. Sam Jackson was weird in this movie.
The character that Sam Jackson plays, I very much disliked this character, but I don't think this was one of Sam Jackson's better performances.
No, far from. I mean, granted, it's Sam Jackson. He kind of plays the same character in most of his movies.
Typecasting.
But this is a movie where it really did not work.
No.
It just did not work. It didn't work for me anyway. It worked a little more towards the end, but even then, it was like, dude, just shut up and die.
Yeah. He was another one when I was so glad when he finally died.
I was a little worried towards the very end. What it looked like they were going to do is like he has this gimp through most of the movie, and the very end turns out it was a fake.
His whole leaning on a cane thing.
Which I don't know why he did that. That was never really explained. It was like, yeah, my legs are fine, realistically, for some reason. Okay.
Maybe it was a style thing?
I thought they were going to reveal, like, he was one of the big fighters or something like that, and they're going to have a final showdown. Nope. Jamie Foxx just fucking shoots him. In both kneecaps.
In both kneecaps.
Lights the house on fire, and with the dynamite, and then walks out. The badass doesn't look... No, Jack Black, he does look back, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Okay, so, because, like, it's kind of the old cliches when you don't walk away and look explosion. James like, no, fuck that, I'm gonna see this.
Yeah, he wanted to admire his handiwork.
I would.
Seriously, after all that.
I mean, it took how much preparation time? He had several hours before the people got back from the Leo's funeral to prepare this.
Yeah. Oh, one of my favorite parts, and this was very much a Tarantino moment. Say goodbye to Miss Laura.
Oh yeah, and then
Bye, Miss Laura.
And then
and she gets shot and literally flies out the door.
Okay, so that was a little hackney. So to describe the situation in full, what happens is Leo has a sister called, which was it?
Laura T or Miss Laura or something.
Miss Laura. Let's call her Miss Laura for the sake of convenience.
That works.
What happens at the very end of the movie? A lot of basically the remaining family members, the ones that Django hasn't killed at this point, are coming back after Leo's funeral in the middle of the night, and Jamie Foxx is waiting for him. Like, he's got, like, the fancy suit on and everything like that.
Leo's suit, by the way.
Yes, I noticed that. That was a nice touch.
Yes, it was. I didn't know burgundy was my color.
Yes, I thought that was nice. But there's a part where, like, he's looking to one of the maidservants, and he goes, say goodbye, Miss Laura. And he goes, bye, Miss Laura, and then immediately just shoots her, and she goes flying out the fucking room.
It is great.
It is one of those great little quick 5-second Tarantino moments, and that's what you love Tarantino. It's like either you love Tarantino or you hate Tarantino. It's one of those kind of directors. I'm still almost positive that was him. I was Australian cowboy, but
I don't know.
IMDb it.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious about that now.
And how weird was it to have just random fucking Australian cowboys in the middle of fucking nowhere?
Yeah, thank you, mate.
And in Mississippi.
Mississippi Australian accents.
How did you
what the fuck?
How did you get from Australia to Mississippi?
I mean, why?
And this is kind of one of those weird facts that I kind of piqued my interest a bit. Like, you notice the rock formations at the very beginning of the movie looked a lot like the rock formations at Monterey.
Yes! Now that you mention it. I'm from Monterey, so
Yeah, we're California people, so we notice these things. But yeah, that was my first, like, oh my god, did they film this in Monterey?
Well,
it'd be cool if they did, although I seriously doubt it, considering it takes place in the desert, but
well, they may have. I mean, a lot of bits and pieces movies have been filmed in Monterey.
Well, people in the desert, probably not.
In the desert, probably not.
But that's one of the weird things I fucking noticed. I don't know. We barely made it in there in fucking time.
Yeah, we made it just as it was starting.
Yeah, we were gonna get here earlier, but we were in San Jose, and then we had some issues come up that, for the sake of not Roseanne Tobin, like I mentioned,
we were detained by previous business.
Yes, that's a good way of putting it. And then we got stuck in heavy traffic for like a half hour.
Which sucked.
Made it like literally, I think 10 minutes past the starting the movie. We just barely got in there as the screen was going completely black and the movie started up. So that was like...
It was practically perfect timing. Another thing I noticed, music-wise, I'm a bit of an audiophile, if you can't tell.
She comes from a radio station, that's not to be surprised.
Did you notice that Jamie Foxx's character and Dr. Schultz had their own music motifs that kind of told what their characters were?
Well, they had their both custom written themes. Like, Django's played right away, then Doc whatever played
Schultz,
who drove a dentist carriage at the beginning of the movie.
With a big tooth kind of wagging back and forth.
And what the hell was Jonah Hill doing in this movie?
I know, right?
He's in the movie for 5 goddamn minutes, and he never pops up again.
I was actually watching Knocked Up last night, so it was interesting to see him in this again.
Well, it's weird. Like I don't think his character even has a fucking name, and he doesn't. He's a fairly big name actor these days, in this like tiny fucking cameo.
He's random racist white guy number 7 or something like that.
And I know it's a horrible racist scene. Like that
was an arbitrary title on my part, by the way.
It's okay. It qualifies in this movie. It's basically he's part of a lynch mob that tries to take out Django after they take out their initial 3 bounties.
Which is a hilarious scene, by the way.
It is a hilarious scene, if you're not easily offended.
Yeah. Think logistical, costume issues with masks.
Or a better way of putting it, this is a joke South Park would make.
Yes.
I think I'd probably a better way to describe it.
Yeah.
But, and then Jonah Hill pops up in that, never appears again.
Nope.
And he's in all the trailers, so...
Probably to try to get more people in.
Like, look, it's Jonah Hill. This is pretty much the most you'll see of him, but here's Jonah Hill.
More or less, yeah.
And then, of course, you got another explosion. There is just a lot of good chemistry in this movie. There's a lot of... the actors work really well off each other. It's very well written. If I had one complaint, Samuel Jackson, and I think it's a bit too padded. Like, I thought there's probably some stuff you could have cut out. But it is Tarantino. So, it's like...
Yeah,
you kind of expect some useless banter. And speaking of which, there are some very interesting, like, camera and directorial choices in this movie. Do you know that?
Yeah, there are some interesting editing choices. And did you notice in the scene after they first get to Candyland, and they take Jamie Foxx's wife out of the box, how the film was slowed down?
Oh yeah, they did do slow-mo in that scene.
Yeah.
That was very effective, I thought.
It was.
The scenes that were brutal are really fucking brutal in this movie.
Yeah.
It really does do a good job of just making you get that uncomfortable feeling about the whole thing, which you should. It is a pre-Civil War movie. Racism was a big thing. Now, granted, I'm not saying this movie is at all historically accurate, but it is very important that, especially in a movie tackling this subject matter, you do have to kind of get that brutality in there.
Yeah, it is kind of a no-holds-barred on how you could expect African Americans to be treated at that time.
Yeah, and of course the answer is not very well.
Yeah.
But it does feel natural though. It isn't kind of like in a lot of movies like Avatar. It comes to mind when I'm thinking about this, where it doesn't bash in the message into your head like a nail, like a nail essentially.
No, this isn't a racial story. At least I wouldn't say it's a racial story.
Mm-hmm.
I would say it's a story of heroism with a racial.
Well, it doesn't like explicitly tell you like slavery is bad or anything like that. No, it doesn't. Like, you should fucking know that. If you don't, seek help.
Yeah, slavery was outlawed in the 1800s.
But it is just a story in this world. It doesn't try to bash you over the head with it. It's just like, this is the world. This is what happens in it. Deal with it, essentially.
And these are the types of people you'll encounter here, and these are another type of people that you may rather encounter.
Exactly, and then of course you got the white Southern man with the thick accent, and I'm Leonardo Dicaprio in this scenario of ours. Okay.
You do that very well.
Thank you.
That's kind of scary. How androgynous you were just now.
Oh, and how weird is it? Leonardo has a fucking skull just lying around.
That was gross. Okay,
well, it was gross, but at the same time, all I could think of was like, well, he must have rehearsed this because he knew exactly where to fucking cut.
And I'm surprised that he hadn't cut that skull before.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, he knew, for context, for those who haven't seen the movie and don't care about spoilers, what happens is, right after Samuel Jackson pretty much figures out that Christopher Waltz and Jamie Foxx are full of shit. So
yeah, he figures out what they're really up to. They don't want to buy a black fighter. They want to get
the girl. Yeah,
Jamie Foxx's wife.
Yeah. So what happens is after he figured this out, he comes out with a skull. What he says is like his old servant from like centuries ago, generations ago.
He took care of my pa and he took care of my grandpa, and before he died, he took care of me.
You need to work on that.
I told you I'm not good at voices.
Took care of my grandpa.
There you go.
I take that back. I was turned more into like Family Guy. Kind of like a popsicle. Anyway, don't know how I got to this. But yeah, so he comes with what was I think his name was Bob. Was it
Ben?
Ben.
Old Ben.
Old Ben. Just got a flash of London there for a second.
No, that's Big Ben.
Close. Close enough. With great power comes great responsibility.
Spider-Man.
Yeah, I know, Uncle Ben. There's so many things I can do with the word Ben, apparently.
Apparently.
Springboard, Paul Robin Williams. Okay. Right, Ben. old Ben. Old Ben, now the skull.
Yeah. That he just happens to keep in a box.
We just happen to keep in a box. A very nice box, too. Like, I have it here just for these kind of occasions. And then plays on there and grabs a fucking hacksaw and goes, see, this is a black man's skull. And I hope I don't offend anyone by this rendition. But I'm going to grab his hacksaw. I'm going to come right this corner here that I somehow know exactly where to cut. And he said, you see these three dimples here? Like, this is the spot where you like...
Which is bullshit when it comes to anatomy.
Well, that's not the point, dear. I am going to do this for the rest of the review. No, not really.
Thank God.
Oh, you like a child. I'm chilling like... I'm not going to go there. But yeah,
Don't you call me child.
Okay. Touching sore spouts. Apparently bring this in Leonardo DiCaprio and just... But yeah, it's like some bullshit about like you see through dimples here. This is the like this part of the brain that connects to submissiveness or something of similar nature and
civility.
Civility, that was it, and it was like it's complete bullshit. Like like speaking like physically and anatomically. So I can only guess
anatomically, physiologically, biologically, genetically, it's all bullshit.
It is all bullshit, but it's a very effective speech.
Yes, it is.
And just scaring the ever-living shit out of you.
Yes, it does its job, but it has no accuracy whatsoever.
And I kind of think about this randomly. Is Christopher Waltz is one of the few multilingual, fantastic actors that are actually in the biz right now. If you really think about it.
Yeah, and he speaks German in this.
He does speak German in this. He spoke German in Inglourious Basterds. He does it fluently. So, is he from? I only assume he's from Germany.
I don't know. I haven't done research.
I'll wiki it later. But it's like you got that, and like Michael Fassbender are the only two actors I can think of off the top of my head that are multilingual and this fucking talented. Because like what Michael Fassbender can like French, German, God knows what other languages.
Impressive.
And how? Speaking of weird soundtrack choices, was there a Spanish song, like a Mexican song, halfway through the movie?
I think there may have been. There were at least 2 Asian type songs or music played in here.
Yeah, like there's one. It's like when the servants are setting up Monsieur Candy's table. It's like it starts playing like Mexican ballad a little bit, which I thought was like kind of weird in context. It's like we're not in Mexico.
Well, we also weren't in post 1970s United States, which
that is a good point.
which is when hip hop came into being, and there are 2 hip hop tracks.
There is, and the first one I thought felt really out of place. Second one, I didn't really notice as much. So obviously, I think it fit in a little better. But the first one I thought was really noticeable.
Yeah, when they were on their way to Candyland, and it's a type of hip hop song that is very one of those in your face songs about gold and bitches and stuff.
And they're just walking.
Yeah,
so
they're just walking along a countryside, and the sun is going down.
And then you got the boom, boom around.
Yeah,
I am white as white can be. There's no way I'm even gonna try.
It's okay.
I've accepted it. But that was like that and the Mexican Ballad, the 2 songs I felt were really kind of out of place for me. I mean, I loved it's Tarantino again. He loves his iPad or iPod or whatever the hell kids use these days.
Or a lot of people are listening to music off of their phones now, which is
Well, it's kind of what they call an iPhone. It's an iPod and it's a phone. See how convenient that is?
Yeah, so
it's today's modern technology, and if you want to hurt somebody, you get a Nokia. That's how it works.
So I've heard. I can't afford a smartphone. but that's neither here nor there. Anyhow,
yeah, that's another topic.
Yeah. Yeah, that particular hip hop song did stand out more.
Yeah, just I felt you could have gone with a different choice there. That's just me personally. Like if you liked it, good for you. I got no problem with that.
It wasn't one of my favorites on the soundtrack, which the soundtrack is really good. By the way, the scoring, where songs
it does fit the more
put,
tongue-in-cheek mood very well, I think. Final thoughts? I don't have much left.
It's badass. If you are a Tarantino fan, or you like explosions, or Jamie Foxx, see this, because it is fucking badass.
What she said. One interesting little thing, not necessarily about the movie, but just about Jamie Foxx, is I heard he's actually got cast in the Spider-Man sequel.
Really?
Yeah, he's going to play the villain in that one.
Do you know which villain they're going with?
I think it's Electro is what they're going with, which should be interesting.
Huh.
If Nick Fury can be black, so can Electro. That's my opinion on that.
Okay. Well, the Kingpin in that was originally supposed to be black.
Well, say what you will about Daredevil, but that movie sucked. I think that's all we got, so I think I'm gonna wrap it up here.
And we'll be back for an Arnold movie. Yay!
Well, I'm gonna have a good time. We're gonna try getting one or 2 other people in the car too.
I may have a good time if I can make fun of it and complain.
You can play in the car.
Okay.
It's our own movie. You're kind of supposed to make fun of our old movie. That's kind of the point.
My mom actually likes his movies, but we'll get into that later.
That's something for tomorrow.
Yeah.
There's one guy who says he's coming, so that's a new face. I'll be in here.
Raj?
No, Cliff.
Oh, okay. Yay.
He accepted my invite. So
sweet.
That maybe one. I got a couple maybes. One person I have. It's not. I got a text later. Not tonight though, because he's busy. But yeah, so we'll see what happens. And there's a guy with a blinker behind me, the fogged up window, which tells me it is time to be off for some reason. So thank you all for watching. Have a good night, and we'll see you again later this weekend.